this marriage. With James, she's able to imagine a new, more secure future. They fall in love and decide to get married. The newlyweds move into a small house of their own, and James is now the stepfather of 3 boys, including 17-year-old Jerry. Dorothy, Cleo's mother, lives next door, is well liked in this close-knit community, and considered a positive influence in her daughter's life. Soon the new family is preparing for their first child together, and their good fortunes increase when their beautiful baby girl is born. James is now a stepfather and a dad to his first child. But Layland is a small town, and at the time, it doesn't provide many opportunities. It's tough to make a living. James is underemployed, and with a growing family to provide for, he worries about money. This, however, doesn't stop him from traveling to the bar nearby Mount Hope, about 17 miles away, where he's known to have a drink or two. Despite James's absences, Cleo's mother Dorothy fills the void with her positive presence, while James and Cleo try to make the marriage work. And James's frequent visits to the bar are the only outward sign of potential troubles.
Well, there are many signs of behaviors that could indicate problems in a relationship. Alcoholism or continual drinking by one person in the relationship could often indicate that there is trouble.
Cleo is home with her children who are all asleep, while James is once again at the bar. Mysterious noises wake up Cleo, who decides to investigate. Is it an intruder? Cleo knows that there's a gun in the kitchen. She quickly finds herself in a confrontation.
But James, whose responsibility is to protect his family, is inebriated. How effective would he be in that role?
A loud noise wakes up 17-year-old Jerry. He tries to identify the sound. Is it a door slammed shut? A scream? Jerry has to make a tough decision. Should he investigate or hide? Try to protect his little brothers and baby sister, or confront the intruder? Jerry works up the nerve to go out and see what's going on, and is quickly overcome by a living nightmare. In this sleepy, picturesque town, a family is terrorized.
The question remains, has someone followed James Duncan home from the bar?
The family is frantic as they fight for their lives, jostling back and forth as they try to protect the youngest in their home from the violence. They have to use whatever they can find. Then the danger escalates.
Whenever a weapon's introduced in a situation like this, it definitely works to escalate the danger inherent in the situation, whether or not that's intentional.
menace with the knife which is cast aside in exchange for the rifle next to the stove. Now Cleo and Jerry are threatened with a loaded rifle as it's frantically waved around and pointed at them.
Cleo's mother lives next door, so there was enough of a ruckus that it startled her from sleep.
After being startled awake, Dorothy is horrified to discover someone terrorizing her family and waving a gun around. The situation turns grim for the Duncan family as shots ring out in the night.
There has never been a better time to join AARP. This special offer gives you exclusive access to hundreds of AARP discounts, programs, and services that will add real value to your life. As a member, you can get discounts on glasses and eye exams, save on prescription drugs not covered by Medicare, but you can also save on travel, hotels, restaurants, concert tickets, and so much more.
I didn't know that.
AARP helps members access exclusive benefits like Medicare supplement insurance, even auto insurance.
We can use that.
AARP offers financial tips, career resources, and tools that may help you avoid identity theft and scammers.
That's good to know.
Pick up the phone now to join AARP. 1 year for just $12. That's 25% off the regular membership price. You'll even get a second membership included free. And you'll receive AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you'll get hundreds of benefits and an additional free gift if you call now.
And you don't have to be retired to join AARP. You can join at 50 for instant access to many member benefits. For 60 years, AARP has fought to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more.
That sounds good to me.
Now you know how AARP helps people like us take on today. So don't miss your chance to join now.
Call or go online now to take advantage of this special offer. 1 year for just $12. That's a savings of 25% off the regular membership price. And you'll get a second AARP membership for anyone in your home free. And get a full year subscription to AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you get the AARP mobile app that connects you to local events and activities near you. And as a free gift, we'll include this insulated trunk organizer. So don't miss this chance to save 25% and get 1 year for just $12.
Call 800-400-9312.
You did it. And you'll continue to do it. And build it. And for all of it, we'll be there. Revival Rugs, with you for every step. Take $40 off your first purchase at revivalrugs.com.
This is Litter Robot, the highest rated self-cleaning litter box that removes the chore of scooping and helps you have a cleaner home. After your cat exits, Litter Robot automatically cycles, separating the clean litter from the dirty clumps, dropping them into the tightly sealed drawer below, meaning your cat always has a fresh bed of litter. Litter Robot is perfect for single or multi-cat households, and its sleek appearance allows you to place it anywhere in your home. Never scoop again with Litter Robot.
It's our biggest sale of the year. Shop all your favorite classics, like our super comfy waffle collection and our best-selling cold weather leggings at the best prices ever. From extra warm polar fleece jackets and our famous go-to sweats, we have what you need to stay warm all winter long. Go to fabletics.com to get 70% off every single thing.
One slip-up exposed their deadly secrets. Investigate the key downfalls,
The stupid things that this man did.
of the most ruthless criminals.
This was crucial evidence.
A Killer's Mistake on True Crime Network.
Layland, West Virginia has had its share of tragedy over the years. And it's the place where the Duncans, a growing family, call their home. But tonight, there are forces threatening the safety of this family and the fabric of the entire town. Like the mining tragedy in 1915, something explosive is about to occur. Cleo Duncan, her son Jerry, and mother Dorothy all gather together after the traumatic events of the night before. They try to gather their senses and sort out what happened and come up with a plan. But James Duncan isn't around, and Cleo must first deal with that. Eventually, Cleo calls the police to report that her husband James is missing. Cleo tells the police that if James was at the bar the night before, she knows a couple of places that he could be sleeping it off. She'll let them know if she finds him. They know Layland intimately, and all the spots that James likes best. While out for James, they check out a local spot in the woods. But on the way back to the car, Dorothy realizes she's locked her keys in the car. And so Dorothy hurries back to her vehicle.
Severe anxiety can result from a very stressful situation. It can make you act differently from what you would normally act. You aren't thinking as clearly as you may ordinarily be thinking, and your fine motor skills may be affected, so you don't have the ability to do small tasks or remember small bits of information. In this particular case, something as simple as locking your keys in your car, which is something you wouldn't ordinarily do, can happen.
Stranded in the middle of nowhere, they frantically try to get in.
But luckily, they live in a small town where neighbors help neighbors, and they were rescued by somebody that they knew.
They explain the trouble, and with the characteristic caring of the people of Layland, the driver offers to take Dorothy back home to fetch a spare set of keys. And with the help of an unexpected friend, soon Dorothy, Cleo, and Jerry are back on the road and dealing with the whereabouts of James. Meanwhile, police begin to look into Cleo's call about her missing husband.
Mental health and addictions play a large role in adult missing people. And we know James likes to have a drink. Whether or not this is a high priority for investigators is one of the questions. It's a small town and everybody knows what everybody's doing. James is, at least as far as they're thinking, likely on a bender and will just show up when he sobers up and everything will be fine. But the police in this particular case start looking around for James anyway. It doesn't take officers long to spot a truck parked on an embankment next to the river.
Could this truck belong to James Duncan? The officer calls in the plate number and confirms that it is, in fact, James Duncan's truck. Police search James's truck, hoping to uncover clues as to where he might be.
My first thought would be that Duncan would be in his truck sleeping it off. Nobody expects foul play at this point.
But James Duncan isn't in his truck. Is it possible James could have drunkenly stumbled into the river?
Finding James Duncan's truck empty near the river isn't good. It's entirely possible he's in the river. Investigators would want to search the riverbank in and around the area where his truck is found to determine if there are any tracks leading to the water's edge. Are there any witnesses that may have seen somebody entering the river? It's very important to start searching as quickly as possible.
Preparations are made to drag the river.
There are a lot of factors that go into determining where a search would begin. In my experience, the investigators or the divers would probably want to start searching fairly close to where the person potentially entered the river. Beyond just finding a potential body, there is potentially other evidence that may turn up, whether there be weapons or clothing or other objects related to James Duncan.
Word spreads quickly around Layland that James Duncan is missing. Everyone has a theory.
This has to be a terrible time for the family to await to see what the police have uncovered.
As the minutes become hours and hours become days, The tension for the family rises to an unbearable degree. To most in the community, it's now clear that James is not somewhere sleeping it off. James is officially a missing person, and so the river is searched where his abandoned truck was found.
You have to understand that there are significant challenges to either finding or recovering a body that has been in water, especially a free-flowing river that may have a very strong current. A current could actually do more damage to a body that has been in water due to the fact that you could either be pulled under, you could hit rocks, it can tear off the clothing or the items that a body had, or it could cause rips, tears, bruises, shearing to the skin. So the force of water can do significant damage.
Typically, a diver is actually deployed in a particular search pattern to search by hand in the often murky or black water. You're relying strictly on your sense of touch to determine what objects you're coming across.
The whole town is on edge, waiting for some kind of clue as to the whereabouts of James Duncan. Then, on January 30th, police officers see what they think are objects being thrown from a car stopped on the bridge which spans the Greenbrier River. As they are observing this, the car speeds off. An unidentifiable figure is seen running into the woods. The officer begins examining the scene, but hanging from the bridge is something the police would never expect to see. A body.
It is a horrific, dismembered body hanging by his feet because he's become entangled in the bridge and is hanging literally upside down. The body clearly has been dead for days and it is dismembered.
Police are shocked to discover it's James Duncan.
Finding the body in this particular fashion, even for an experienced police officer, would be extremely traumatic.
The question remains, how did James Duncan just appear hanging there 3 days after his disappearance?
Well, he didn't hang himself up there, and recovering the body from this particular location is going to be quite a challenge. It's going to require some very careful thought so as to not disturb any potential forensic evidence that may exist on the body.
The officers struggle with how to get James's body off the bridge, and that's when they see a haunting image.
The killer has cut out his heart and lungs. His body has been mutilated.
After securing the body and calling in the coroner's office to take custody, the police head to the Duncan home to relay the terrible news that James Duncan is dead. Who killed him? What happened that night at their home? Is Cleo protecting someone? Or is she scared of someone who is terrorizing this family? Everyone in town is imagining frightening scenarios. The community is rattled. Who has come into their town and done something so heinous? They wonder about their safety as police begin the investigation.
Finding a body mutilated in this fashion certainly spooks the community. It takes them back to the 70s when a serial killer known as the Mad Butcher operated in the Fayette area. In that particular case, we have 7 people murdered over the span of 2 years. All of them were mutilated and dismembered. One of them was cut into 13 pieces. The fact is, the Mad Butcher was never caught. Maybe he struck again.
The police begin their investigation into the murder of James Duncan. In the Mad Butcher case, the victims had 2 things in common. They were all men, and they were all rumored to be hitchhiking. Then, the disappearances and the killings abruptly stop. Many wonder if the killer dies or ends up in jail for another crime. The last reported murder is 1964. 18 years later, could he be back? Or is it a copycat? Police start asking around. They hear from many people that James spends a lot of time at the local bar in Mount Hope. Is it possible he met his killer at this location or any other place he may have been the night he disappeared? And then there's his family who files the missing persons report. What information do they have in this homicide?
Cleo Jane Duncan is a person of interest, as would any spouse in a case like this. But finding a body hanging from a bridge, mutilated the way it was, is highly unlikely, in my experience, that a spouse would do something like this.
The 1980s are defined by stranger danger, as well as a growing fear as to who might be in your own neighborhood. Missing children appear on milk cartons. There's a mass panic surrounding the Tylenol murders. Even Halloween feels dangerous. The first reports of killer clowns terrify everyone. Each of these moments of social unrest signal Americans' growing alarm and fear that there are serial killers all around us. There are movies and news stories about devil worship. It's much easier for this small town to imagine a terrifying outsider than a terrifying insider. Is it possible that James met his unfortunate end at the hands of a complete stranger? The bartender acknowledges to the police that James is a regular, and he listens to many of James's stories. The bartender's impression is that his life is not good at home. In particular, James appears upset on the last night he was seen at the bar. As the investigation digs deeper, they uncover when Cleo reports James missing. She doesn't tell the police that he came home drunk and that there was an incident at home. It was James who was terrorizing the family. He woke up Jerry and Cleo's mother with all the commotion. Cleo appears to be holding back some of the details from the evening he went missing.
In a situation like this, the first group of people that police are going to want to look at are people who are close to the victim. So in this case, they're going to want to look at the family and see if there are any family conflicts that may lead to a motive. And then they're also going to look at other individuals in town to see if Mr. Duncan had a feud with anyone there. It's important for the police to be really careful when they're dealing with the family, because while the family, as people who are close to the victim, are going to be one of the first groups of people who's looked at, it's also important to remember that they're grieving.
Did someone who lives in this small town of Layland murder James Duncan? Or was it someone in his home? Police need answers for this devastated family. They investigate all possible leads. And so, police decide it's time to bring James's entire family in for questioning. But what did the bereft know about this tragic incident that they haven't already relayed to the police?
At Consumer Cellular, we're all about transparency. We deliver premium wireless coverage for up to half of what the largest carriers charge. How do we do it? I'll show you. But you've got to promise not to tell anyone. Oh. I'm just kidding. Tell whoever you want. The truth is, we don't actually own those towers. We just pay to use them. That's how we deliver the exact same coverage as the largest carriers and save you money. And while someone else maintains that great nationwide 5G network, we've got more time to focus on something else. You. Boom! Say hello to one of our 100% US-based customer service call centers. Hi! If you need help or want to make the easy switch, you can call and talk to a real person in Arizona, like Danae here.
Yep, I'm definitely a real person, not a robot.
Prove it. Definitely not a robot. Okay, so it's clear. Consumer Cellular offers amazing 5G coverage, backed up by incredible service. But that wouldn't mean much without super low prices. You already know we're up to half as much as the largest carriers. But guess what? AARP members can save even more. Yahoo! We have the latest phones, but if you want to keep the phone and number you already got, that's fine too. There's no contract, you pay nothing up front, and activation is free. Just give us a call at this number.
And for a limited time, new customers get their second month free. Call 1-800-918-4205. Find us in Target or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
Watch this. It's It's all 100% real. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. Nothing has been doctored or tampered with. The very real problem will disappear before your eyes and hers with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours and hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags. It works on sagging jowls, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. In just minutes, you can restore and beautify your face, even look years younger. And the look will last all day or all evening.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm just in love with the mirror right now.
Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Prove It Plexiderm trial. You'll see why our customers describe Plexiderm with 3 words. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping. Operators are standing by.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
James Duncan seems like a friendly family man. He's married to Cleo with a new baby and are living in Layland, West Virginia. But when James is found dead hanging from a bridge, mutilated with his heart and lungs removed, many wonder if this is a random act or is there more to the story. Not everyone in this sleepy town knows that he's an abusive alcoholic with a nasty temper.
The autopsy of James Duncan revealed that his cause of death was from a gunshot wound, not from the dismemberment of his lungs and his heart.
This is important evidence. Bullets tell stories. The Mad Butcher shot his victims before he mutilated them. So in this particular case, they want to see if they can get a match to the bullet that was found in James Duncan.
The heart and lungs were removed from Mr. Duncan's body post-mortem, and it was a .22 caliber bullet that caused his death.
As the truth starts to creep out about the man that James Duncan was, suspicion grows towards Cleo. But Cleo isn't as good at keeping secrets as she may think. And some locals are happy to talk about their suspicions on what transpired the evening James is murdered.
Very often people think they have an understanding of what's going on behind closed doors when in fact they really don't know. Very often in events like this, we really don't understand the extent of abuse that may be taking place. We often ask ourselves, well, why didn't they just leave? Why didn't they do something to better the situation? And the fact is, it's very difficult to know what to do.
Dorothy and her daughter are very close, so it would make sense that Dorothy would be aware of the kind of husband that James was. So the police are definitely going to want to speak with her. Dorothy also lives next door, so there's a good chance that if there was some sort of disturbance, Dorothy would have seen or heard something.
Police also have questions about James's relationship with teenage Jerry. Relationships between step-parents and teenage children are often strained as the new parental figures introduce new ways of managing a household. As police delve into who James Duncan is, the more they realize he is not well liked by anyone, including his stepson Jerry.
Well, it's very important when conducting interrogations of suspects or people involved in an event that they be separated and be given the opportunity to provide their account of what happened in the absence of somebody else having an influence on their information. In this particular case, they seem to be thinking that Jerry is the one who pulled the trigger.
But Cleo won't let the police think that Jerry committed any crime. She decides to tell the truth. She's been protecting her family and even James by not being honest. But now she comes clean. Cleo tells police the story of what really happened to her husband, James Duncan. She explains that he came home late at night on January 28th and is extremely drunk. He's also agitated and demanding food. She gets out of bed as quickly as she can. She wants to appease him so the kids won't wake up, and she tries to calm him down. She relays to police that James berates her and threatens her if she tries to make him soup. James complains the soup is cold. He demands another bowl and says, this time it better be hot. James angrily chases her around the room. She begs him to calm down and says that she'll make him another bowl. It's then that James realizes the fire in the wood stove is not burning, and this sets him off. He sees this as a personal insult that they've not kept the wood stove going while he was out on such a cold night. Jerry, meanwhile, is in his bedroom listening to what is a common event, the abusive behavior of his stepfather, and so Jerry decides to help. Cleo runs outside, but James is much bigger. He drags her back in the house as she screams. Jerry now becomes the target. All of James's anger is unleashed on Jerry as he chases him, beats him, shoves him, and yells at him. And that's when Jerry tries running out of the house. But James is too fast and he drags Jerry back inside. He's threatening them and scaring everyone in a whole new way.
This isn't really much of a surprise to anyone who would have known James. They should have just told the truth, but nobody really understands what it's like to be faced with that situation. When you're living with an abuser, you're basically made to feel worthless, that anything you say is unbelievable and nobody would take your word for it. So it's not very difficult to understand why they may not have come forward with the truth right at the outset.
It's around this time that James pulls out a gun and is now threatening everyone with it.
James sits them down at the table in some sort of demented, deranged family meeting, and he tries to convince them that if they had acted better, he wouldn't have to be doing what he was doing. By this time, the young kids are up, the baby's crying, and they feel helpless as to what they can do at this point. The sad irony of all of this is that this gun belongs to Dorothy. One would ask why Dorothy's gun would be at that house. Was some sort of protection needed?
Just then, Dorothy wakes up to screaming in the middle of the night and runs over to her daughter's home. She walks into a horrifying moment. Dorothy begs James to remain calm and put the gun down. Then, Dorothy's mama bear instincts take over, and she wrestles the gun away from James. He lunges at her to get the gun away and frightens her in a crazed fury of drunkenness.
And that's when Dorothy shoots James.
Dorothy, who has never hurt anyone, who loves gardening, traveling, and church, has shot her son-in-law, James Duncan. James is dead, and the entire family is in complete shock and devastation. The officers now have information that James Duncan has a history of abuse and violence. The question now is his killing an accident or self-defense? And the question remains, how did James Duncan end up hanging from a bridge with his heart and lungs missing?
Think you know Weight Watchers? Allow us to reintroduce ourselves. Science has evolved, and so have we. New weight care solutions, tailored support for the whole you. Weight Watchers, the care you deserve from the brand you trust.
In just 1 year, I had over $900 in banking fees. I had enough. I switched to Chime. There's no overdraft fees, no monthly fees. I'm saving hundreds for my daughter's future. For a normal guy like me, I've given myself a small raise. Join me at Chime.com.
I was never able to find a bra that fit my small chest. Every bra gave me gaps or made me feel like I wasn't enough. It was something society taught us to be embarrassed about. Small-chested women deserve better. So I designed a bra that finally fits AA to B cups perfectly, and a brand that empowers women to celebrate their bodies exactly as they are. No more cup gaps or looking 2 sizes bigger. It's not your body that has to change, it's the industry. Meet Pepper, the bras that actually fit small boobs. Check us out at wearpepper.com.
Go to fabletics.com today and get 70% off every single thing. It's our biggest sale of the year. Shop brand new styles and all your favorite classics, like our super comfy waffle collection from Fabletics Lounge and our best-selling cold weather leggings with a soft, brushed interior. From extra warm polar fleece jackets and packable puffers to base layers and our famous go-to sweats, we have what you need to stay warm all winter long at the best prices ever. So, what are you waiting for? Go to fabletics.com today and get 70% off every single thing.
This is Litter Robot, the highest rated self-cleaning litter box that removes the chore of scooping. After your cat exits, Litter Robot automatically cycles, separating the clean litter from the dirty clumps. Never scoop again with Litter Robot.
As you get older, your liver health becomes an increasingly important part of the aging process. We created DOSE for your liver to make taking care of your liver easy. DOSE is an organic blend of liver-supporting ingredients and is clinically backed to promote healthy liver function so that nothing's holding you back.
To prove that there is such a thing as free money, we gave people a little sample of Ibotta.
Hi, could I interest you in a sample from Ibotta?
What's going on? It's just money?
Ibotta is an app that gives you cash back every time you shop. What is it?
If I could just take this. This is real.
This is insane.
What's the catch?
There's no catch. It's just cash.
Get cash back every time you shop with Ibotta.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. More Vegas action, more casino favorites, and the latest slots. Play Jackpot Party and win amazing surprises just for logging in. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
James Duncan of Layland, West Virginia, has been murdered and is found hanging from a bridge, his heart and lungs missing. His wife, Cleo, tells the police about that horrible night, that James is wild with rage, and that her mother, Dorothy, saves her life and the life of her grandchildren by shooting James. The police then question Dorothy, and she recalls the events of that night. After she shoots James, the traumatized and devastated family try to decide what to do. The only idea they have is to hide the body and bury James in the backyard.
Jerry's grandmother has stepped up and protected him, and now she asks him to dig a hole in the backyard. And I guess he feels he has to do what she asks.
They also decide they're going to push James's truck off the riverbank to make his disappearance look like an accident. But the truck gets stuck in the process. They don't have the strength to push it further into the river, and so they decide to leave it. And that's when they realize that Dorothy's keys are in the ignition of the locked car, the car they were planning on going home in when they abandoned James's truck.
Remember, this is before cell phones. There were no overnight tow trucks. This is a small town in West Virginia, and luckily, a friendly face happened to stop by to offer assistance.
The stranger drives Dorothy home so she can grab her spare set of keys. Later, the family drives back to the house. Once home, Cleo reports James missing.
These are law-abiding citizens with no previous issues with the law, and they're church-going, they're well-liked in the community.
A few days later, Cleo is hysterical. James's death torments her. Cleo thinks her guilt will ease if James receives a proper burial. She convinces her family that if they put him in the river, he'll be found by police when they drag the river again. The grisly job falls to Jerry to dig up James Duncan's body from his shallow grave.
Imagine how traumatic this is for Jerry. First, he had to deal with the abuse and the trauma, and then there was the death itself and all the guilt and shame associated with that. And now this.
Cleo and Dorothy then prepare to dispose of James's body in the river.
These are nice ladies. They're devastated and full of guilt over what's happened, and they're really not thinking clearly. But now the idea that they want to dig up a body and throw it in the river on top of all that, somehow they think that retrieving the body and dumping it in the river is a better plan.
But before they even get in the car, Dorothy stops everything. She realizes that when the police find James, they'll find the bullet and match it to her gun. Dorothy decides that she must remove the bullet before they dispose of the body.
It makes no sense. These ladies clearly aren't thinking straight. They're traumatized and probably haven't slept in days. These are really bad choices, and everything they've done since the death of James makes them look more guilty.
Dorothy cuts into the body of her son-in-law looking for the bullet that killed him. She can't find it. She is desperate. She cuts out his heart and lungs and puts them into a bag, planning to dispose of them at a later date.
In this case, the truth is stranger than fiction. A hysterical killer cannot perform an autopsy and believe that they can find a bullet in a chest. That is why trained professionals such as a forensic pathologist performs an autopsy under a medical legal death investigation to prove how Mr. Duncan died and not a hysterical grandmother.
Even though Dorothy can't retrieve the bullet, they still decide to push on with the plan. They drive to Wiggins Bridge in Hinton, about 45 minutes away from Layland. Cleo, Dorothy, and Jerry attempt to throw James off the bridge and into the river below. But as his body goes over the rails, his foot gets caught in the structure of the bridge, leaving James Duncan's body dangling.
For the third time, Jerry is asked to do the impossible. He has to climb up under the bridge to try to dislodge the body, but of course, he's caught in the act.
Two police officers just happen to be driving across the bridge. They see a car stopped in the distance. Cleo and Dorothy panic and speed off. Jerry's on his own and runs into the woods to hide. Cleo and Dorothy are so rattled and upset that they get lost and spend hours trying to find their way back home.
Covering up an act of self-defense, which may or may not have been a crime, has made the situation so much worse. The question is, what have they done? What crime have they committed?
Dorothy Grubb, Cleo Jane Duncan, and Jerry Raines are arrested for murder and unlawful disinterment.
I felt so grateful when I discovered Coterie. Coterie diapers pack more performance than any other diaper I've experienced before. They last all night. Our kids sleep over 9 hours. If you haven't tried Coterie yet, it's my #1 recommendation.
When I'm not feeling healthy, I feel like my whole body's off, my skin is off.
DSO1 is worth it because they have strains that deal with digestive health, skin health, and overall health.
DSO1 makes me feel balanced.
My whole system is working better.
It's making a real difference in my quality of life.
If you just do this one thing every single day, your gut will thank you for it.
Visit seed.com to start DSO1 today.
I'm Richard Karn, and I love my hose. My hose is lightweight. My hose will not kink. And my hose is anti-leak. It ain't those old hoses. This is my hose. The new pocket hose Copper Bullet. Now infused with real copper, so your water is always clean and lead-free. Just turn on the water and watch your hose grow and grow to a full-size 3/4-inch hose. It stretches and expands like a rubber band. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking and squeezing that water out until it's practically bone dry. And that makes it easy to carry and put away. Our new inner tube uses 3 layers of high-strength latex on the inside. Then it's wrapped in a new polymer filament jacket, similar to the technology used in forest fire hoses because it's light and tough. 3 times stronger than the other hoses. It's guaranteed for 10 years. Nearly impossible to tear or snag. And the redesigned connector protector helps stop leaks at the spigot. But my favorite part of our new hose build, the oversized, easy-to-grip fittings. Easy on and off, even with gloves. With more than 100 patents worldwide, it's the best pocket hose in the world. Get the super light 25-foot pocket hose copper bullet today for only $29.99. But wait, call now and get our copper spray nozzle with our exclusive thumb drive free. Simply use your thumb to turn off and on. And with 10 unique patterns, you'll have a setting for every job. It's a $30 value, yours free with every 50-foot copper bullet. But it's not available in stores. This is an exclusive release of our newest pocket hose. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-380-2741 or visit copperbullethose.com. So call 1-800-380-2741 or visit copperbullethose.com. Order now.
You did it. And you'll continue to do it. And for all of it, we'll be there. Revival. Vintage, timeless, washable rugs.
Holy We have to bring our suspect to justice.
Dorothy, Cleo, and Jerry confess to the murder of James Duncan. Cleo and Dorothy are released from Fayette County Jail after a February 2nd, 1983 hearing. Their bail is $50,000 each. Cleo's 17-year-old son, Jeremy Rains, is also charged with murder and placed in the State Juvenile Detention Center in Princeton.
Considering the serious nature of the offense as well as the cover-up, it is unusual that Cleo and Dorothy are released on bail with such a small bond and that Jerry's not tried as an adult. And really what that does is speak to the unusual surrounding circumstances and the type of person that the victim was. In this situation, it's more likely that they're going to be released because they're not seen to pose a threat to the community.
Cleo's trial is first. Cleo is tried on 2 counts, 1 charge of murder, 1 of unlawful disinterment. She testifies that James came home that night drunk and beat her and Jerry. James then chases them around the house with a butcher knife and a gun. Cleo also testifies that her mother, Dorothy Grubb, enters the home, wrestles the gun away from James, and fires the fatal shot.
Cleo's lawyer argues that James wasn't hung from the bridge on purpose, that essentially it was an accident that occurred because when they tried to push him off, his foot got caught on the bridge. So what this means is that what appears to be very brutal circumstances are actually more of an unhappy accident.
Cleo is acquitted on the murder count by the Fayette County jury, but found guilty of unlawful disinterment of a body. Fayette County Circuit Judge J. Zane Summerfield states that he has taken into consideration the brutality of the act, the fact that Cleo lied, and that she involved children in the cover-up. For that, he sentences Cleo Duncan to 2 to 5 years at West Virginia State Prison for Women.
It's clear to everyone involved in this, including the judge, that Cleo's been through a lot. So she has shown a significant amount of leniency. She's released on bail pending the outcome of her appeal. And this is in recognizance of the fact that Cleo not only has been through an abusive relationship, but now she's been through this ordeal, the guilt, and having to go through the justice system as well.
Cleo appeals her sentence on April 22nd, 1988. The jury's judgment is upheld, but the judge then suspends her sentence, so she is free.
Judge Summerfield, while he denies the appeal and upholds the judgment, agrees to suspend Cleo's sentence so she's able to remain out of custody. And what the judge says is that her children need her, so he's recognizing what this family has been through and is very sympathetic to her as a mother.
Dorothy Grubbs does not go to trial. She pleads guilty to manslaughter and to unlawful disinterment. Dorothy states she didn't intend to kill James Duncan, but she says, "I am guilty because I did shoot him." In fact, we learn that when Dorothy shot James, she was so upset that she turned the gun on herself. Her family had to reason with her to talk her down. Dorothy's sentence is 2 to 5 years for disinterment of a dead body and 1 to 5 years for voluntary manslaughter.
The judge essentially suspends her sentence and gives her credit for 55 days in custody. These are very light sentences, and essentially they give the impression that she has gotten away with murder, dismemberment, and a cover-up. But I guess it's hard to know if this is actually a bad thing. It's hard to even know if the original shooting of James Duncan was in fact a crime.
What this indicates is that everyone thinks that these women have been through enough already and doesn't think it's necessary for them to suffer anymore by being incarcerated.
Jerry Raines serves time for his part in the cover-up and goes on to be arrested several times over the next few years. Sadly, Jerry dies in a car accident in February 2009 at the age of 43. The community rallies around two women who stood up and fought back against an abusive man and protected their family under the most horrifying circumstances. Many people in the community of Layland, West Virginia believe justice was served. These mothers return to their families, and a small community moves on from these horrific events.
Bras fit small-chested women like this.
Atrocious gapping.
This. Meet Pepper. No more cup gaps or awkward fits. Specially designed for AA to B cups. The bra reinvented for small boobs.
Everyone warned me about credit cards, but I found the Chime Credit Builder card and was able to build my credit with no annual fees or interest. My score went up over 60 points, and I bought my first car. My next goal, a 700 credit score. Join me at Chime.com.
This is Litter Robot, the highest-rated self-cleaning litter box that removes the chore of scooping. After your cat exits, Litter Robot automatically cycles, separating the clean litter from the dirty clumps. Never scoop again with Litter Robot.
It is amazing. It is a bioactive whole food. It has all the essential nutrients you need for your skin, your gut, energy, focus, mood, performance, your hair. First thing I noticed was the energy and recovery that it had after workout. If you want to try it, try armor.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Self can securely report your positive rent payments to all 3 credit bureaus for free,
which can increase your credit score and expand your housing options so that one day you won't have to see this face at your door.
Increase your credit score with free rent reporting. Download Self today.
Friends say hot flashes aren't so bad. Doctor says tired is normal. But we hear you. At Aquel, we believe no symptom is too small, and menopause relief should be for all. Start today at aquel.com/TV.
My doctor told me I needed to start prioritizing my liver health.
Dose for Your Liver is a clinically backed supplement that supports healthy liver function.
My stomach feels a lot better.
He has more energy. He sees his grandkids more.
Start your liver health journey today at dosedaily.co.
We're hitting the road and talking to people about their hearts. Putting the mobile in cardio mobile. How's your heart?
Doing good.
Is it?
I think so.
You think so? But how do you know, right?
I don't actually know.
You don't actually know.
I'm believing so.
Let me show you something. It looks like a credit card, but it is a cardio mobile card that is a FDA cleared EKG device. Want to see how it works?
Yeah, let me see.
Winner gets to check your heart. Ready? 1, 2, 3, heart.
With Cardio Mobile Card, you can take a medical grade EKG in just 30 seconds from anywhere. Cardio Mobile Card is proven to detect atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke, and it's the only personal EKG that's FDA cleared to detect normal heart rhythm, bradycardia, and tachycardia.
You know, Mother's Day is coming up, right? Yeah. Give that as a gift to your mom.
Great idea.
I like it.
This year, give mom peace of mind for Mother's Day with Cardio Mobile Card for just $79. Get Cardio Mobile Card at cardio.com or Amazon.
Stay tuned to get this free 5-piece nonstick bakeware set from Gotham Steel.
I paid so much for these pans, but they still burn and they never come clean. And I just know a new set is going to cost me a fortune.
Not anymore. Introducing Aqua Blue from Gotham Steel. Ultra modern cookware that's so durable it's the last nonstick cookware you'll ever use. Now at the most affordable price anywhere. This is chef quality cookware, cast from solid aluminum and finished with TYSON, made from ultra durable titanium and super slick ceramic. That means no sticking. Everything slides right out. So cook healthier with no butter or oil ever needed. And forget scratching, because these pans are metal utensil safe. They're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake hearty pasta dishes or even oven roasted succulent chicken. And no more boilovers, because the set comes with